It's Rachel Losman with the Austin Post. We're out here at ATI talking to more local startups. Today we're talking to HootMe, which actually was started on the UT campus, right?
That's correct.
Tell me a little bit about what you guys do.
So what we've done is we've developed a QA platform for teachers and students, and we're specifically trying to help students out when they're in maybe big classes, really big classes, and they feel like just a number in a sea of students. They've got maybe a homework question that they need to ask. So what they do is they go into our tool, post it, and then we essentially crowdsource out that question so that other classmates can respond, the teacher can respond, maybe the TA.
So I know that there are other systems out there like Blackboard, for example. What made you decide to do this as opposed to trying to follow in an existing platform?
Well, actually, we leveraged some of those platforms. We came up with this. We conceived this concept as students, as undergraduates. When I say we, it's me and a team of 2 other guys. And we're all students at UT and stuck on calculus homework at night in a really large class, 100 other students, lecture style of class where the teacher's on stage with a microphone. You raise your hand, the teacher looks at you and says, sorry, I can't answer questions, that type of class. And we thought there has to be a better way. We have our social network. We have a professional network. We have these places to turn to when we need to connect with other people, but we don't really have a knowledge network.
So where is HootMe being used right now?
Yeah, so we primarily focus on the University of Texas campus.
Mm-hmm.
We've signed up users from all over the world. We have about 15,000 that have signed up, and it goes as far as one of our more active classes down in Honduras, of all places. Yeah, but UT's been the primary place where we've tried to really pilot and figure out how to design the best user experience and get all that feedback before expanding. And right now we're kind of entering into that expansion phase and looking at other universities.
This is a very noble idea. Noble ideas sometimes have difficulty making money. Do you have any monetization plans with it at this point?
We do. We've turned a little bit of revenue. What we do is we identify the students in these classes that become kind of the top answer providers. Inevitably in these classes, we kind of joke about calling them the eager beavers. Because these are students that rise to the top and they kind of exhibit mastery and go to help the other students. And what we do is we invite those students to become expert owls, is what we call them. And these students get their own QA room that they can build a subscriber base to, that other students can either pay or parents can pay to subscribe to them, and they can participate essentially in their public dialogue.
Nice. All of this sounds fantastic. I wish that this was there when I was in college. This is so much nicer than just like, anybody want to study with me? No? Okay. So are there any features that you look at and go, why is that the most popular? Okay, I'm rolling with it. Sure, that's what people want out of it.
Yeah, well, actually, it's the features that were not used that was most interesting to me, because when we originally pitched this idea and started getting the feedback, it kind of goes back to the old Henry Ford quote, right? If I had built what my customers wanted, I would have built a faster horse. Well, when we were getting feedback, everybody talked about wanting live collaboration online, so video conferencing. So if I could have virtual office hours, essentially, that would be wonderful. Well, it turns out that the way the students feel comfortable interacting online is not so much around live engagement, so video conferencing. They don't really want to see their professor. They just want to have the help on whatever the question is at hand. And they can do that in a more asynchronous manner, and they feel much more comfortable. So we originally built Hoot with a big focus on video, and while those tools are used and it is useful, it's not the most valuable aspect of it, which I thought was interesting.
So it seems like there's a risk for having a large signal-to-noise problem with a lot of people answering that maybe are giving Yahoo Answers-style answers, and only very few people that really know what they're talking about. What sort of filters do you have in place for that?
Not so much as filters as it is an approach, and how we've approached these QA rooms. Since they're built around classes, you're able to kind of get this beautiful phenomenon of the social economy. Because the students know each other in these classes, and because the teacher kind of sits over it all, you end up getting really good quality responses, and you're able to kind of trust the responses because you know who they're coming from. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if I know you and I go to class and you and I are friends, we hang out after class, and you answer one of my questions, then that question or that answer has a whole lot more credibility.
So do you think that level of transparency really has a big impact on how people behave? Because if you're in an environment like Xbox Live where you can just have whatever name you want and shout whatever you want, people tend to be very uncivilized. But if you know someone's name, if you know their identity, I find that it really balances things out.
Yeah, and this is where you have to be really careful to not misassociate transparency with obscurity. A lot of people think if I can be obscure online, like if I can hide behind a username, then all of a sudden that's going to enable me to have some element of transparency, if you will, where I'm not afraid of the social ramifications. And actually, I think it's quite the opposite. When you tie somebody's identity to whatever action they're taking online, the transparency through that identity, through lack of obscurity, if you will. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, totally.
And that's where you actually start getting a little bit of the better quality responses.
Agree. Well, thank you so much for coming out. I appreciate you taking the time.
Thank
you. Tune in next week. We will have another interview with another local tech startup.
Okay.